So I just bought a new camera and I wanted to give it a bit of a test out, and I wanted to actually do a bit of a tutorial video on how to braid a beard. Having learnt from myself from other YouTube videos and the sort, I'd like to just go through a few things that were certainly missed out on those videos, talking about a bit of the pre-prep work that I do. I'd also like to take an in-depth look at the braiding technique. A lot of the other videos that I saw tended to rush through this part of it, just assuming that people would know how to braid a beard. They'd have videos that are like, 10 minutes long and spend only 30 seconds just doing the braid, and I had to go back and watch it all in slow motion, which got a bit frustrating, and it took me probably about 2 hours or something like that to actually get the technique. And also I'd like to just go through about tying it off using one of these things. As obvious as that sounds, there's just not a lot of information on that, and I'd just like to go through a few of my techniques with tying it off as well. So just a bit about the pre-prep and the background work. A bit of background: this has taken me about 18 months to grow. It comes down to about sternum level, where my sternum sort of ends there. And to make it grow quicker and to give it the strength, I've taken a vitamin called biotin. I'm not endorsing it or anything like that, just because everyone's body reacts differently to different things, so probably best consult your doctor before looking into it. But I found biotin is really good for beards. Its main use is fingernail strengthening for people who have brittle fingernails, but it's also been widely acclaimed in the beard community as well. So I've used that. It both promotes growth and strength of the beard. So with the pre-prep work that I do, hopping straight out of the shower, and I've already done this already, I actually straighten it. The best straighteners to use, in my opinion, are the comb straighteners with the coils around them. That way they kind of act like a bit of a comb. Don't go with the sandwich maker like ones that just sort of you press down, because I think they're going to probably do more damage than good when it comes to straightening out your beard, and it doesn't sort of guide each individual strands to the to how they should fall into place. The other thing that I like to do as well, straightening it out does separate the hairs a little bit. The bad thing about that is when you do come to braiding, it's going to have that pipe cleaner look if you braid it, and it's going to have those little ends sticking out. I find that's really good to make sure that they still clump together, and what I use for that is just going with water, splashing it on my beard, going through it, making sure that the water gets into it before then breaking it off. So what I'm going to do now, I did actually have it wet down, but it's all dried out now. So I'm going to go and get it all wet again, and then come back and we'll go through the braiding technique. Now with the braiding technique, you want to part it into 3 places. Now a lot of videos will tell you that it doesn't need to be perfect, just do 3 sections and make it as close as possible. I've actually found that I disagree with that. You want to make it as perfect as possible, and the reason being is because each link of your braid is going to have a particular bulge in it if one of your strands is bigger than the other, and that bulge will displace it, make it very snake-like as well. So you want to still get it as straight as possible, best thing to do is make sure that you divide it as perfectly as possible. Just make sure that that each strand, that's really difficult with the camera to work out on myself, make sure that each strand is the same length, make sure that they are matching the, make sure that they are equal lengths apart from each other. Otherwise you will get those bulges as you braid it on each of the links. You'll get a bulge in a different place of the link, which tends to just snake it out a little bit as well. Okay, so now that your beard is all wet or damp, what you're wanting to do, as I said, was make sure that you part it in 3 equal places. It's very difficult to see with my camera whether I'm doing the right thing or not. Then what I'll do is I'll grab one of the ends here. This one is my right hand. I think it's my right, yeah. It's my right hand. Now, I think that my camera reverses this to make it look like my left hand. What I'll do is I'll grab both bits in my thumb and index finger, and with my left hand I will grab the other one with these 2 fingers here as well. Now I try and grab them as close to the top as possible because I want to limit the amount of flyaways that I get in it. And what I do is I twist it and I grab it with these 2 fingers and then bring it back down, and with these 2 fingers I re-grab it. And I do the same thing again. Now, mine being quite long, it does get wrapped around, the hairs will get wrapped around my fingers, and I try and keep track of them as well. But with this hand then, I grab this side and then twist it around here and bring that into that hand, and then do the same again. I'm going through this quite slowly, and I'm going through this with the technique, discussing it as well, just because the other videos I found didn't do that. So as I said, changing fingers, putting it back in there, grabbing with these 2, changing fingers again, and then grabbing it again, changing fingers, grabbing it again. And what I do is, just because I think I've probably got more hair going on that side than this side, I will then try and anchor it up towards there, just to bring it straight in line with my top 2 teeth as well, which is what I use for the measuring point as to whether it's center or not. Is usually my top 2 teeth or my septum. So keep on going. I have a feeling I'm going to have some flyaways just because I'm doing this very slowly as well. I might have to actually redo it for the tie-off video. So I just keep coming in and once again grabbing it and then pulling it back under, grabbing it with these 2, letting go of these 2, and then bringing it in, slowly doing it a bit faster as well. Now what I do is I often braid it down as low as I possibly can. This helps me determine where to tie it off with and where to start the tassel part of it. So you've got the braided part, but you've also got, after you tie it off, the tassel part, which is just where the hairs hang freely, not being in a braid. So I normally just do it down as much as possible. That'll do there. So it does have a bit of a tassel part, and then I'll look to probably tie it off there. I can't see, because I've got a very small screen in my camera, I can't see how far down I've actually gone, and I can't really see any flyaways, but I'm sure given how slow that I was doing it, there are probably going to be a few. To prevent tieaways, you just want to do it as tightly as possible, and that will come with practice as well. I found that when I started, you know, I'd always have the pipe cleaner look, which is not really a good look. The other thing is as well is you're going to have different sizes of strands of beard as well, and they're going to cause the pipe cleaner effect. It's not, it's unavoidable if you're braiding a beard, but it does look, I find it looks quite a bit neater as well. So to tie it off with, I use one of these. See if I can get it in the lens there. I use one of these to do it. Now, unfortunately with the pandemic and with the lockdowns and with the 5 kilometre radius, it's very hard to find a supermarket that stocks these. Only a handful of them actually stock the little ones. Most of them stock the big hair tie. Just flicked it. Most of them stock the big hair tie ones, and look, I can still use them. They do come off a bit thick and they do look a bit ridiculous, to be honest with you. Okay, so what I do is I grab this, I put it into a figure of 8 around my 2 fingers, and then try and get it between the thumb and the index finger. This is going to look terrible because I'm looking at a screen whilst doing it. Then what I do is I do it with my other fingers, that's right. So I put in the thumb and the index finger, and then what I do is I get it to the point at which I want to tie it off at. I think I've gone a little bit too high here, but we'll see how it goes. Then what I do is I tighten it and then twist it around, and then do another one, tighten it, twist it. I do this 3 or 4 times, just depending on how thick the braid is. I might even do this one more time than I normally do, because I think that I've thinned this out quite a bit with how tight I've actually done it, to try and avoid the flyaways as well with the little screen. And then I tie it off as well. It's probably not that great because I can't see it in the mirror. What I try and do is I try and, with the with tying off these things, I try and make it so it's got like an X at the front, that it just crosses over itself. It's a little hard to do that with the little screen though, but that is how I braid a beard and I tie it off with. And hopefully you've gotten some value out of this video, because as I said, you know, some of the other videos out there, whilst informing, were quite frustrating, because they'd talk about the products and the shit that they put in their beard firstly, and then they'd quickly braid it and you had no time to see what their fingers were doing, and then you know, quickly tie it off and go back to talk and smack about something else as well. So hopefully that has taught you how to braid a beard properly. Thank you.